Aircrete. We've are doing a workshop with Gaia, and they are here for the week to teach us how to build these houses. And this is all Aircrete. So basically they are foam blocks that are created by injecting high pressure air and soap into concrete. And what it does is it takes the concrete and it fills it up with air, which makes the bricks very light.
Oh, yeah, even I can just hold that.
Yeah,
like
they're
nothing.
extremely light. You can hold them with one hand, and you could also cut them with a handsaw in comparison to how hard a regular brick is. So what we're doing here is we have a technique that is really innovative. We take these arms that come from the center of this dome, from the center of our circle, and the arms are guide arms and tell us how far in the bricks should be laid and the angle that they should be laid at. So all we have to do is follow this swing arm, and that's going to give us our guide to make this dome, and it's going to keep keep our dome perfectly center. And then when we get to the center of the dome, we're making a skylight cap for it over there. So yeah, this process is super innovative. This can be done by anybody, and by having the bricks so light and so malleable, it takes a lot of the hard labor out of this. They're making this whole house with basically an air compressor and a drill and a whole bunch of hand tools.
In how much time?
The workshop's been a week, and the guys have probably put about a month of prep time into it, as far as making the blocks and pouring the foundation and everything.
Which is basically what?
This is Aircrete also.
Okay.
So the Aircrete is also really good for insulation, since the concrete has so much air inside of it. It holds up against, if we were in colder climates, it would be great for the floor from letting the heat go into the ground. And even here in the tropics, it's going to help to keep us nice and cool. So it's rot proof, it's not going to rot, it's bug proof, it's it's fireproof. Every single aspect is very is highlighted here in concrete with the injected air into it.
And is there any steel in it at all, or anything?
In
like
this
that?
one, no, there's no steel. What we do is, if you want to step out to the site,
Okay.
outside, I'll show you what they do. This is an entrance that we
Into the
created
building?
with our own forms. So they are teaching us how to bend the pipes and actually lay down these forms and lay the blocks onto the forms. And the shape of the dome itself lends to the strength of it, since all the blocks are laying together. And what we do is, after we get the first part of it laid, we wrap it in a fabric.
What kind of fabric?
So this is a fabric that is used for the roofing industry. So this is a roofing kind of fabric. So what we do is we paint mortar onto the Aircrete, and the fabric is soaked in water, and we lay the fabric on the painted concrete, and then we do another layer of concrete over it. So the fabric becomes like a rib cage for it.
And then, about how much does this cost in materials?
I would say between $5,000 to $10,000.
So what's going on with these bottles?
The bottles, after you get across this center part right here, like this is what they call the equator, and they get higher up, what's going to happen is the bricks are going to fall. They're going to fall in.
Oh.
So these are our counterweights.
And they're full of water.
And they're full of water. So they're basically, every time that we put a new block up, we're going to put the counterweight up. Block up, counterweight, and it's going to hold it in place until it dries. And then what we do is we just come over here with a scraper, and we scrape off all the corners that are going to stick out. And you could just do it with just a putty knife.
Like a plaster too.
Like a plaster. You're going to scrape it all nice and nice. And then you put your mortar over it and fill in all the holes, and then put the cloth over it, and then put a whole nother layer of plaster on top of that. And then that will make it nice and watertight and give it a nice coat, nice finish on it, and then you can add your color to it from there.
And when I look at the base, is there any kind of like a hurricane hook that will go in there?
So what we did is, as we laid the brick down, we laid the brick into like on the lip of the foundation, and we wrapped the base of this fabric around the foundation itself, so they're actually just fused together.
Okay.
So we're not using a lot of metal in here. This is a different kind of build, and it's kind of held to, it's the strength is coming from the structure, and then also since this doesn't have lips, there isn't a pull that from wind like you would get from hurricanes.
How about the door?
The wind, yeah, but it's also going to have a wall in front of it. It's going to be a door.
Oh, okay.
So this is going to be
And then
closed.
I see you're doing something here flat.
This is the molds. These are how we make the bricks.
This is how you make the bricks?
Yep.
Oh, and then you just cut them up.
You just cut them. So we pour this. It's probably still wet. No, these aren't wet. So we pour them, and then we put these slices in them. We slice them up. Yeah, we're making all of our own bricks, and then we cut the bricks specific for the wall. So what they're doing here is they get their measurement, and they figure out what the angle of the brick's going to be, and they just change as you get higher up. They become more triangular. So we're learning as we go, but it's really something. I mean, the basic thing is around that compass. You know, you make a circle for the foundation. You dig it in. You dig it in like a footer. You dig it in like a footer, and you make your foundation. And once you have that center compass inside of that, and you set up that guide that shows you where the bricks are going to be nice and square, you're basically working around and around and around that pattern, and it's very simple. And then also, as far as like being able to mold it, how we did it as far as putting that other window in, we basically stuck a screw inside of it, took a piece of string, drew a circle, took a handsaw, cut a circle out, and then we casted the circle on the side in a form that we made here. Let it dry for a day, took that big form and put it straight into the wall, and then actually just adhesed it into the wall. And you can't do that in regular construction by yourself.
And this will make a great ag building.
This would be fantastic for ag buildings. I mean, this is going to be a safe place for people to go whenever the storms come, which we don't have right now.
Right. So this has been built basically by 30
unskilled labor. We're following this young man, Gabe. I think he's about 21 years old right now, and he's been Hajar's apprentice and has been following Hajar around for the last few years and just learning everything about this. And he's our build instructor right now. He's just nonstop, super full of passion. It's just a wealth of information, and it's really exciting to see somebody so young already taking it and just adopting it. And he's an Aircrete builder. Like, that's what he's being emerged at. This is Gabe. Gabe is part of Dome Gaia, and he is basically like the juice behind it right now. Him and Hajar are like the Batman and Robin of this new
doing
technique.
The training. When you're doing the soap, what's the ratio of the soap to water to concrete?
Okay, so the mixture that we do, it's formulated for a 94-pound bag of Portland cement. So we use a 94-pound bag of Portland cement. We use 7 gallons of water, and then we add foam until it brings the entire mixture up to 55 gallons.
Wow, what kind of...
Oh, sorry, not 55, but 50.
So what kind of soap foam do you use?
It's made with 7th generation dish liquid, and the main ingredient in it, the main ingredient that's important for foaming, is sodium lauryl sulfate. And so 7th generation has it, so we use it.
So it's looking really smooth, and like, do you go other places in the world besides Hawaii for this?
Yeah, actually, this is our 5th workshop that we've done. The first one was in Mexico, and then we had 2 on the Big Island, and then we've had 1 in Washington.
And where are you going next?
To the Philippines.
To the Philippines.
And then we have 2 in Mexico, and 1 in December and 1 in January.
What kind of fabric goes into this?
It's a polyester reinforcing fabric. It's made by a company called APOC, and it's stitch bonded, and it's real strong, basically.
And is it like fiberglassed on, or it's plastered on, or?
It's plastered on, yeah. So it's kind of like we put it on sort of with a stucco coat. We put some stucco underneath it, we put the fabric on, and then we put some stucco over the top of it, and it holds it up against the building. So once it's on the wall, it's almost like the wall is one piece. It ties it all together. It covers every surface of the wall. It's not like it's not like rebar. I mean, I know that there's a lot of great things about rebar, but this covers the entire surface, whereas rebar just runs through its tracks.
And have you had any experience with the building going through torrential rains? Not this one, because it's not done yet, but I mean, like, because we can get,
Right. like a lot of water.
20 inches in 2 days, you know, will it melt or will it?
Oh no, it's not gonna melt. Especially once it has like the hard coat on the outside. You know, you want to put another layer of stucco on top of this. That's sand and cement, and it'd be. I mean, down here you can already feel that it's so hard to. I mean, well, I guess my thumb's not really that powerful, but if you bang against that water, torrential downpour would not hit that, would not break through that, and then it'll be even harder once it has a traditional stucco final coat.
And what do you think, like, if a tree blew into it in a storm? Gonna handle?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. So what's the oldest building that you guys have built?
2 years.
Well, thank you so much.
Sure.
And Gabriel, how's it been doing this?
It's been a lot of fun.